Well, I want to invite you to Psalm number 10. Psalm number 10 is where we'll be. Each month we sing through a psalm of the Bible, and before we sing through the whole psalm on the first Sunday, I preach on that psalm so that we have a better understanding of what we're singing through the rest of the month. And so, Psalm number 10, and it deals with something we really don't like to talk about it too much. It talks about evil in the world. And there is real evil in the world today. And I think back over things that were just awful. And nothing has received as much publicity of what's awful than the Holocaust. We have a picture of a man here on our screen, and that's Adolf Hitler. And for those of you who didn't take history yet, he was a German leader, the Nazi Party, and he was an extremely good leader. But he didn't have the right values. He wanted to do an evil thing. The Nazi power came to Germany in January 1933, and they believed that Germans belonged to a race that was superior to others. And they claimed that Jews did not belong in that superior race. Now you hear have you ever heard of white supremacists? That is an outgrowth from the Nazi Party. And you can often see the swastika, which is cut off here, tattooed on some of them. But they felt that the Aryan people, who had blonde hair and blue eyes, and that they were tall, were the perfect species. And yet their leader had dark hair and was not that tall. He led in the systematic, state-sponsored murder of over 6 million Jews. By 1945, the Germans and their allies and collaborators killed nearly 2 out of every 3 European Jews as part of the final solution. That final solution was the Nazi Party to murder Jews of Europe. Over 6 million murdered. Now, during the era of the Holocaust, it wasn't just the Jews. They persecuted other groups because of their perceived racial and biological inferiority. These include Roma or Gypsies, people with disabilities, some of the Slavic peoples like Poles, Russians, and others, and Soviet prisoners of war and blacks. It was all, survival of the fittest and survival of the superior race, and that's what they were doing. German authorities persecuted other groups on the political, ideological, and behavioral grounds. Among them were communists, socialists, Jehovah's Witnesses, and homosexuals. So it wasn't just Jews. So in the end, at least 11 million people were killed by the Nazi Party. That is evil. And so when you think, is there evil in the world? That paints a picture of evil in the world. Many wondered, just like they did in Psalm chapter 10, verse 1. It says, "Why, Lord, do you stand afar off? Why do you hide yourselves in times of trouble?" And and they came to the conclusion that God did see, but he was powerless to help. That's a faulty conclusion, but if you believe that God is good and God doesn't want evil, then they concluded that God cared that he was unable to help when they rounded up the Jews and put them in concentration camps. This is a picture of shoes. It's a lot of shoes, right? Yes. Every 2 shoes represents one person that they killed at that camp. Where are you, God, when this is happening? Why are you hiding when there's times of trouble? Why haven't you shown up? Let's see what the psalmist sees in his time. 3 things I want you to remember as we go through here is to know that evil exists, pray for justice, and expect God's answer. Psalm 10, verse 2. In his arrogance, the wicked man hunts down the weak who are caught in the schemes he devises. He boasts about the craving of his heart, and he blesses the greedy and reviles the Lord. In his pride, the wicked man does not seek him, for in all his thoughts there is no room for God. Of all the things the wicked man has to think about, he pushes God out of the way to make sure there's enough room for all his plans. His ways are always prosperous. Your laws are rejected by him. He sneers at his enemies. He says to himself, nothing will ever shake me. He swears no one will ever do me harm. His mouth is full of lies and threats. Trouble and evil are under his tongue. He lies in wait near the villages. From ambush he murders the innocent. His eyes watch in secret for his victims. Like a lion in cover, he lies in wait. He lies in wait to catch the helpless. He catches the helpless and drags them off in his nets. His victims are crushed. They collapse. They fall under his strength. He says to himself, God will never notice. He covers his face and never sees. That is the kind of oppression that was going on in David's time. The evil people looked for every opportunity to take what they wanted from whoever they wanted, even if it cost that person their life.